Hello, welcome back to another video on my channel. So I have just parked up basically to talk a little bit about autism, and I've parked up in one of my favourite places, and if I could live on this road that would be a dream. Although it's quite close to like recycling-y, power planty stuff, and it really smells sometimes, so that's a bit further down the road I think. So I kind of find that the key to improving my mental health is support and accommodations, and the things that I would class as like my coping mechanisms that I lost some of or have had to change have made it actually really difficult for me to have a good quality of life, basically. You know, like my last video, I think I talked about how I'm trying to improve my life in certain ways, and accepting and accommodating and believing in my autism diagnosis is kind of like the key for me to do that. And I've come a long way in accepting it and actually realizing actually this is what I have, and stop like gaslighting yourself. It's not doing yourself any favors whatsoever ever. And now when I look back at like my childhood, I'm like, I was so particular about things, and I learned that you shouldn't be that way about things. You shouldn't be so particular about things. But yeah, I'll get into this. So yeah, the key is support and accommodations. So exposure, because I've just thought that I've been told it's anxiety, and I've thought it's anxiety and nothing more. So you should expose yourself and be out of your comfort zone and experience all these different things, throw yourself into social situations like a little bit at a time, in order to, and like kind of change your thinking a bit with CBT in order to improve like social anxiety, for example. But why has that never really worked? The only things that have helped me with my anxiety are obviously, now I know, like accommodating it, accommodating my autism, and also medication. So my ADHD medication helps me, and also on top of that I take a beta blocker, which helps as well. My beta blocker is for my POTS, postural orthostatic tachycardia syndrome. I don't know why, but when I talk, like my nose starts to run. Like, it's a very common thing with me. I don't know what that's about. At first I had to accept that I couldn't live like others. The feelings I had around this were frustration and, of course, as you may know, denial. I needed structure and routine, no matter how hard I tried to go against that. I just wanted to be able to do more and be more, and thought that I was giving up and failing if I stopped trying. I even have a tattoo on my wrist that says "never give up," which I now tend to cover up with a watch. It was kind of drilled into me, particularly by a manipulative family member who I don't actually talk to anymore. But this idea of that I was failing just wasn't true. I needed just to change my tactics, and I needed to not give up on myself, so in a slightly different way. One thing I learned that was able to help me fully understand that I am autistic and come to terms with it was realizing that when I say I really don't like something, I mean this is painful, uncomfortable, adding to my already rising levels of overwhelm and overstimulation, and maybe it's even my breaking point. By this, most other people mean that they can cope with it and it won't ruin their day, they just don't like it. So that is the reason for the need of accommodations. Once I realised this and was able to get some of the support and accommodations that I needed, I became happier, calmer, and my mental health improved. I realised that I'd rather live this life with support and accommodations now, because happiness doesn't come in the way that it may do for other people. For me, it comes from accommodating myself, but it also comes in small joys in the everyday that I experience. And I kind of seen this with like a lot of autistic people online, and I really strongly related to that. So I tried to bring more of that into my life, and it's really made me a much happier person, and it's made me feel comforted instead of anxious. So I'm going to talk a bit about some of the joys I experienced, as well as some of the ways that I've kind of been accommodating myself. For me, being in nature obviously is a huge one. I talk about that all the time. Spending time at home, if I'm going out, just going out for maybe an hour or two, instead of like making it into this whole day that I need to be constantly doing things. Visiting antique and thrift type shops, so that's something that I have been really enjoying lately, over like the normal kind of shops, you know, because the lighting tends to be different in those kind of shops anyway. But also I don't really like the shops that are selling the same things, the things that tend to be like really popular. I kind of like to dig in and have a rummage around and kind of like pick out things that are more related to my interests, pick out things that that are kind of like more unique. So I realised that I mostly enjoy speaking to people that I actually relate to, so other people who are probably or are neurodivergent. But to the most part, yeah, I want to relate to people, and there's very few people that I can relate to, but those people that I do relate, it means a lot, you know. And also people who share my interests, but then sometimes it can become a bit confusing, or I can worry that I'm coming across as rude, or I feel like I'm being misunderstood or even mistreated. When that sort of starts to happen, sometimes I will pull away, and sometimes I will completely step away from these people. And I don't mean it in like, maybe if I could communicate better about my needs and how I'm different, maybe it would help. But at the same time, like, I don't want to fit their understanding of the world completely. Do you know what I mean? Like, I'm my own person, my own views, my own feelings, my own needs, and I shouldn't have to just constantly accommodate and justify my existence to people. So I find it better for my mental health and my sanity even just to step back from them, and I think that's okay. And then I'll talk about like more of the little simple joys that I have experienced in life, or more recently. So there's a bat that comes into my garden at dusk around this time of year, every year, like every evening, and it makes me so happy to see that bat. It's just something that's kind of like, it's comforting, but also like a very, I don't know, I just feel so much joy from seeing this bat. Seeing the trees like how they are now, like they are beautiful. They all have leaves growing, and the green colours are just amazing. And I've realised that green is like my favourite colour, and one of the reasons is because it's so beautiful to look at in nature. You know, I also really like purple, but I also realised that green is like really suits me. Like I have green eyes, so I got glasses that are green, and glasses are a thing that I've really struggled with, because I found a pair of glasses that I loved years ago, and then they stopped making them. So you go back the next year and you can't find the same glasses or any remotely similar, and it's really distressing to me. And I had a really hard time with Specsavers, so now I go to Boots and the experience is completely different. It's way less chaotic. They're really helpful. They haven't made any mistakes on my prescriptions. You know, just so much that I'm just really pleased with that I've moved to. Even though, like, my workplace help pay towards Specsavers, I'd rather pay a little bit extra and go to somewhere that I'm going to have like a really good experience. I'm going to come away feeling like confident about it, rather than like feeling really like overwhelmed by it. I just don't think Specsavers are that good of an optician. Yeah, so I could get into a whole rant about Specsavers, but I'm not going to. I'm just very pleased that I moved. Yeah, so talking about nature, and yeah, I loved seeing every day the trees grow more and more leaves, more and more flowers come out of the ground and open up, all of that kind of thing. I purposely drive a different way to work. One is a little bit longer, and the reason for this is I get to be blanketed by all these trees. Like in this area here I do it, and if I'm working at a different site I do the same thing. I found an area where all the trees are like really beautiful, and like they're really tall, and they're like covering you, and I just feel so protected by that. And it's just like, it's so weird it's probably quite weird for other people, but like for me it's like just such a joyful experience. It's really important for my mental health, so I try and do that like every day, like drive this way and have a look at the trees and all that kind of stuff. And I love like when you're driving in the countryside and you see so many different things, like little bunny rabbits, pheasants, deer, like deer in the woods especially. What else do I see? Like really pretty flowers coming up, you know, you've got the bluebells at the minute, and just so many flowers are opening up now. It's just given me so much joy. And then nurturing my own flowers, taking care of those, seeing every day that they are different, and but they've come from nothing, you know. It's just, to me, that's incredible. That's the meaning of life. Like, there's nothing more important than that, in my opinion. So yeah, there was like, I've had some like really great experiences in nature. Like one time I saw a rainbow in a waterfall, and it was like one of the most amazing things I've seen in my entire life. Like I didn't know that that was even possible. Yeah, I've just had some like experiences like that I don't know, just, yeah, giving my life so much meaning. Yeah, I really enjoy watching the same TV shows and the same films that bring me comfort again and again. Same with CDs, and so I collect like CDs, records and DVDs, and that's another thing. Like I love going to secondhand shops. There's a record store in my area that do records and CDs, like loads of them, and I just love like looking through them, finding something that I know I'm gonna love, and experiencing like the joy that brings me. And I love like finding CDs and DVDs that I loved as a child, as a teenager, and really, you know, really like that nostalgic feeling, that really comforting feeling. I just love it. So also like recently I've like, kind of like found my style, and like in the clothes I wear, in my like decor, so like my interior, like decorating my home basically. I found so much joy in that, doing that. Really found like my style, what it is, what that means to me. And yeah, I take so much pleasure in that, like every single day. So other things such as like sitting in the garden at work. So they put in a garden at work some time ago. There's trees and flowers and benches that are a good distance away from each other. There's like a shaded area. I just think like, you know, everybody, what I would normally do is just sit inside, just go on my phone, and going outside, being alone, just being in nature, just for like half an hour, it just makes me feel so much more refreshed. I can breathe so much easier, and I just feel so much more calm and relaxed, and that's added a lot to my life. Some of these things that I've mentioned are accommodations I've given myself. There's lots more, such as, you know, like I've been tying my hair back, even though I didn't even realise that contributed to any kind of overstimulation or sensory overload. I didn't realise that was a thing, but when I tied my hair back, I was like, wow, I didn't actually realise that this was affecting me in such a way. And that's not all the time, it's mostly when I'm at home, or if it's windy or something like that, you know. Having things to fidget with all the time, so like having a hair tie, like I've got these hair ties that are like these spiral things and you can fidget with them. So having something like that stops me from picking up my skin, picking up my nails, and doing all these things that are just not what I want to be doing, you know. Like if I can fidget with something else instead, that's such a better thing for me to do. So I've gotten sunglasses on prescription for the first time, but I had to pay £600 for 2 pairs of glasses, which is ridiculous because I need them and I had to pay that. But my light sensitivity is way less of a problem. So the reason why I have to pay so much money for my glasses isn't because I pick like the most expensive ones. In fact, that's not what I do. It's actually because I have really, really, really bad eyesight. One eye is minus 9.75, one is minus 9.25, and I have astigmatism. I get my glasses thinned down. So because my glasses are really thick, I need thinning down. That's where the cost lies. It's nothing to do with like the frames or anything like that, although frames are more expensive than they used to be, you know. And I got them buy one get one half price, so I got my sunglasses as well. But the sunglasses have changed so much. Like, I feel less light sensitive, so I think that what happens is I end up like being it's like when I'm exposed to light, the more light I'm exposed to, just being outside, you know, the more light I'm exposed to, which is another reason I like being protected by the trees, because I feel like they darken the light. The more light I'm exposed to, the bigger the overwhelm, the bigger the sensory overload, you know, and it just keeps growing until like I get a headache, or I'm just feeling so uncomfortable. I mean, I feel uncomfortable anyway, but it's like builds and builds and builds. But wearing the glasses, this is happening a lot less. I'm tolerating fluorescent light a lot better because of it. So that's really, really good. All these seemingly small things have actually made a massive impact on my quality of life, my mood, happiness, my energy levels, all of that. And I've been more productive as well. And this is kind of just like the start of this like journey that I've been going on. So I know, you know, I'm feeling very hopeful that things are going to get better. I know I'm going through like a very stable period now. My nervous system has really gotten calmer and easier and less overreactive. And I know this because of the previous job that I was in led me to get into burnout. And I know now, like, there's been a few months, but I've slowly kind of getting on like a pretty stable level at the moment, a stable period of my life. There's going to be some instability in my life, and you know, I'm still going to have day-to-day struggles, I know this, but accepting myself, accommodating myself, continue to see my therapist, who, as she calls herself, neuroaffirming. So she has ADHD, she has family members who are autistic. Like, it's perfect. I've never opened up and never felt comfortable, never felt as understood as I have. But yeah, just getting the support I need, and it's really helping me, so I feel really hopeful about the future. It also kind of makes me realise why ADHD medication was so essential to me, because there's so many contradictions between autism and ADHD, and I feel that the reason I wouldn't cope not taking ADHD medication, and I couldn't understand why anyone would, is because on top of that, I'm autistic.